Hey guys, in this part we talk about input attributes in HTML. Read-only attribute. The input read-only attribute specifies that an input field is read-only. A read-only input field cannot be modified. However, a user can tap to it, highlight it, and copy the text from it. The value of a read-only input field will be sent when submitting the form. So I create a input and set read only and create a label, for example enter text, save and set the value, for example test text, save and reload. Test text, click and I can type in the read-only input. Disabled attribute. The input disable attribute specifies that an input field should be disabled. A disabled input field is unusable and unclickable. The value of a disabled input field will not be sent when submitting the form. So I remove the read-only and set disabled. Controller and I can't click or change the input. The size attribute. The input size attribute specifies the visible width in characters of an input field. The default value for size is 20. Note, the size attribute works with the following input types: text, search, tel, URL, email, and password. So, for example, I set the size to this input, for example 7. Reload 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. Yeah, and change to 10. Reload and the width is changed, or 20. The input width changed. The max length attribute. The input max length attribute specifies the maximum number of characters allowed in an input field. Note, when a max length is set, the input field will not accept more than the specified number of characters. However, this attribute doesn't provide any feedback. So, if you want to alert the user, you must write JavaScript code. So, I remove the size and set the max length to 10. Reload, type, and I can't type anymore. The min and max attributes. The input min and max attribute specify the minimum and maximum values for an input field. The min and max attributes work with the following input types: number, range, date, time local, month, time, and week. Use the max and min attributes together to create a range of legal values. So I remove the max length and set the type to number and set the min to 1 and max to 4. Save and reload. I can't up from 4 and down from 1. The placeholder attribute. The input placeholder attribute specifies a short hint that describes the expected value of an input field. The short hint is displayed in the input field before the user enters a value. The placeholder attribute works with the following input types: text, search, URL, tell, email, and password. So set the placeholder, and for example enter a text, save and reload. We have enter a text as a placeholder and type, and enter a text removed. The step attribute. The input step attribute specifies the legal numbers intervals for an input field. Tip: this attribute can be used together with the max and min attributes to create a range of legal values. So remove the placeholder and set step free and set type number, save and reload. 6, 3, 6, 9, 6, and step is 3. The autofocus attribute. The input autofocus attribute specifies that an input field should automatically get focused when the page loads. So set the autofocus and save and reload, and we have focused in the input.